Just make sure I got the light okay.
Hello, everybody. This is Pasha Marlowe from the Let Pleasure Be the Measure podcast. I am thrilled to be here today with a friend and a colleague. JO VISSER is here. JO is a brilliant midlife coach, facilitator, educator, previous university professor who studied nursing and now holds space like nobody else's business for women who are perimenopausal and menopausal so that they can reframe their narratives and reclaim their power. I am so happy to have you here today, JO.
I'm so thrilled to be here because I just love being with you wherever I get a chance to. I'm also a Roar grad.
Oh, thanks for the pitch. Yes. Jo did the Roar with Laughter program. So you were a comedian, a performer prior to it, but it was a blast having you in the therapeutic comedy program and watching you perform. And someday, Jo, we'll do a one-woman show, and maybe we'll do a two-woman show.
It'll be a one-woman show with two women. That's right.
Yeah, a one-woman show with two women. That sounds great. And we're going to talk and laugh today and in our future imaginary show about all things midlife and menopause and taboo. And I think we're going to go into some pretty juicy topics and conversations. So yes. Ready to play, Jo?
I am ready to play. I'm always ready to play with you, Pasha Marlowe.
Awesome. So, how do you define pleasure?
I define pleasure as just, I know it's kind of cliche, but that simple cup of coffee in my den in the morning, looking out at the blue jays and feeding the crows and getting excited that we have a pair of cardinals. I know I sound like an old fart, but I just love just that quiet space, time alone as well, and long walks and hot baths and gathering around a table with friends.
Yes.
Particularly women friends.
Yes.
And I miss those languid meals.
Right.
And that time to laugh and to share a glass of wine and to have good food.
Yes.
And that hanging out, which we haven't been able to do in a very long time.
Yes, we are recording. I say tape to date myself, but we are recording this episode in mid-March 2021. So for those of you who are like, why did they miss circling up? Just go out and have some wine. Because if you remember, and I know we're all going to forget really quickly how much we appreciated and missed the simple pleasure of hugging on our friends and circling up with our friends and just talking around a table. So if it's, say, months into 2021 and you're already doing that, or a year later and you're listening to this, let's just take a moment of gratitude and appreciation for the fact that we can do that. And that we missed it so much because it was vital to our life force and energy and pleasure.
Yeah. And how we've had to recreate and reimagine, because we are officially, as yesterday was the year that this has been announced as a pandemic, that the World Health Organization, and certainly where I am in the province of Quebec, everything shut down.
Yes.
And how we've had to really redefine ourselves and redefine pleasure and really search for crawling our way, to quote Megan Jo Wilson, crawling our way back to pleasure.
Yeah. I feel like I got really scrappy with my pleasure in 2020 and 2021, where I was just like, all right, nothing is traditionally pleasurable. I still do that cup of coffee. I'm with you on that. I'll go to bed early just to wake up sooner to have my coffee. I'm just like, I'm going to go to bed early because I really want to look forward to that moment by myself before kids wake up.
Yeah.
And look out the window with my cup of coffee. So I'm with you on the top of the list, pleasure. And we had to reframe it. And I think midlife women are doing it so beautifully. Like if any population is thriving throughout this, I am feeling, and I know that's my orbit right now, is midlife, wild midlife women. But wow, did we pivot
Yeah.
and use our resources and resiliency and persistence. And yeah,
Life experience and desire, and yeah, really looking at, because midlife is a time when we start to take stock of and kind of go, okay, so what do I really want now, and what do I really want this next chapter to be? And I guess a pandemic has forced us into looking at that maybe sooner
yes.
than we thought we would. It's like people leaving cities, kind of thinking, oh, I'm going to go buy a house outside the city because I don't have to be tied to the city anymore. I can now work from wherever. And so it's people like thinking, like those plans of where would I like to live and how would I like to live? And so as women, it's just like, oh, who do I want to be now?
It's like an
Tied.
existential crisis. We're really starting to think about what is life, what is death.
Yes.
And it's kind of funny because when I turned 50 last year, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm halfway cooked. And then I'm thinking, well, that's actually pretty optimistic. I'm like, so I used to think midlife, middle, second half. I'm like, actually, I got to get on this. Like, I really have to get relentless and fierce about my pleasure and my fun.
Yeah. And how do you see yourself? Like, how do you really want that narrative to look like?
And you do this for women who are specifically perimenopausal and menopausal. So you're working with women who are, needless to say, hormonal, potentially confused, frustrated, dried up.
We'll use that term loosely, dried up. Yeah, who are, who find themselves in bodies they don't recognize anymore. Have, maybe have had vibrant sex lives, and then it goes like down the toilet in a blink of an eye, in a blink of a creepy eye.
What's with the eyelids like getting so droopy that I can't see? Like, I think that's part of my vision problem. The eyelids are falling over the iris or whatever.
Yeah, well, that too. When I go to use my eye pencil, and my eyelid moves, but the pencil doesn't glide. The pencil no longer glides nicely because the skin is not quite what it used to be to glide that pencil. Yeah.
My son, teenage kids, they'll just tell you exactly like it is. He said, Mom, you have a 6-pack on your forehead. Yeah, which is a nice reframe. I mean, he meant tons of wrinkles. And then I was like, well, I don't have a 6-pack in this menopausal belly anymore. So I'm just going to embrace the 6-pack on my forehead.
My forehead. Yeah. Well earned. You worked hard for that 6-pack.
I did so many crunches to get that.
So yeah, it's looking at our changing bodies, but also our outlook on the world and how the world looks at us too. It's about reframing that, because there is this sense of, I'm done. I think things are better. I think our generation of women are kind of going, now wait a minute,
not done.
I'm not done. There's another half. There's another half that I want to live, and we do want to live it more healthfully.
Yes.
In mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
And we don't want to be stuck with the bullshit and the messages we've been given.
Absolutely.
By society and culture and aging.
Yes. And when you circle women up to talk about this, it's emotionally charged. There's so much shame in it that it's beautiful to have a container where they feel a sense of belonging and relatability.
Yeah. One of the things that bowled me over was when women said, oh my God, this is finally I can talk, because I felt so isolated. And the sense that I thought I was alone in this. I thought I was crazy. I thought it was just me. So when they come together in a group of women in sisterhood and start sharing, they realize they're not alone. They're not the only ones experiencing this. They don't have to feel isolated. And there's a huge sense of relief and empowerment. I think those are the two big takeaways that I'm seeing, is a sense of huge relief, gratitude for sisterhood, and a sense of empowerment.
Beautiful. Yes. relief.
Yeah,
Like a
yeah,
sigh
it
of
was
relief
yeah.
of being seen. And
Yes.
and you and I talked just prior to starting the recording that even though we are easy to laugh, and even though I study pleasure and you study pleasure, and we talk about pleasure and we talk about sex a lot, that does not mean that we are either having partner or solo sex, or that we even want it. And can we just
Yes.
normalize that like, whether this is a
Yes.
menopausal phenomenon or I'm just tired, who cares?
Yes.
Like, I want to release the shame
Yeah.
of, quote unquote, like, you should at least be having solo sex, you should at least be having an orgasm a week,
Every day.
or
Yeah.
every day. That would be even better. Or it'll help you sleep, or you should do this, you should do that. And I was believing that for a while.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking about this
Mm.
idea of like the spiritual pussy, like, our
Yeah.
be lit up and orgasmic in a different way right
Yeah.
now. And
It,
that's okay.
and that's okay. And that's also something to aim for if you want to aim for that. I don't believe that we should feel shamed or pressured into having orgasms if that's just not where you're at, or sex if that's not where you're at. And certainly in perimenopausal women, I mean, my show, my performance with in your show in Roar season 3 was about my atrophied pussy,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
and it's okay to talk about vaginal atrophy, and it's quite common in many women. And it's not just about, as I said, using more lube. It's about like so many things, and it's okay. You don't have to worry about trying to fix yourself in
Right.
order to do something. You kind of go,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And maybe later we'll
maybe
be
later.
juicy and lubricated and in the mood again, and maybe not. And that's our damn prerogative.
And I think it's important that we reframe and reclaim juicy.
Yes. Yes. Right. You're
And
living a juicy life right now, coaching midlife menopausal women. I'm living a juicy life right
yeah,
now, doing fun podcasts and writing books. Like, we're having a really fun time. I feel more
yes,
well and healthy and vibrant than I've ever felt,
yeah,
despite the dry pussy
yes,
and the lack of sex drive in the moment. That's okay.
exactly. Absolutely. No, I mean, I feel turned on and on fire,
Yeah.
and in my fullness. And I think too, if we also talked to much older women, like maybe women in their 80s
Mm-hmm.
and 90s, who might have said the same thing and kind of got,
Mm-hmm.
oh, life is great. Life got better, or life wasn't necessarily, I was no longer a prisoner to my hormones, in
Mm.
that terms of, the crazy, like when we're adolescents in our 20s and 30s and 40s, we're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yes.
you
Yes.
kind of go,
Mm-hmm.
to allow
Mm-hmm.
space for something else to come in,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that aging gracefully and beautifully and humorously doesn't necessarily have to equal a sex life, like
It's
like on one level.
mhm, mhm. Absolutely. So for you, how do you like in 20, 30 years, like, what do you want your life to look like? How you're 55,
Ooh, I'll be. Wait,
2,
I'm
1.
53. I'll be 54 in June, so I'm
Like,
hanging on
I
to
knew you'd guess it.
53.
I knew you were in the middle to early. I like shouldn't have guessed. So,
um, well, so for starters, COVID-19, I've decided I'm going to be a silver fox.
oh, you're going gray.
I'm
Fuck.
just letting, so I mean, I'll cut some of this out, but I'm going to enhance that gray. So in 30, 40 years, oh, it's like my future self. Um, I'll, I can see her sitting on a deck,
Mm,
looking out over a field,
mm,
and all of this is white,
yeah.
and I'm laughing. I'm sitting back, just kind of go, you know what? am talking to a younger self or younger people, or just kind of go, life is fabulous. Life has been really, really good. When I learned to let go of control, when I learned to trust, that's it's a long one.
Yeah.
Life flowed. It's been a life well lived. It's been filled with people I loved. It's been filled with travels. It's been
Mm.
filled with wonderful women friends and men friends and a loving
Mm.
partner.
Mm.
And I think I'll have written a book.
Yeah,
Had
you
a few
will.
had a few shows.
Yes.
Run retreats, maybe, and continue to run retreats and continue to write. Who knows? But we
Yes.
can gather in olive groves and
Mm.
farmers' fields and around tables, and
Mm.
it's lush. When I look ahead, it's lush.
Sounds lush. It's a beautiful image. I'm getting goosebumps, and
Mm,
and so it shall be, or something
something
even
even
better.
better. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and a lot of co-creation,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of partnering up with women to create and design, and yeah.
Yes. I share that vision. I imagine myself uh, on stages talking to women of various ages and in retreats circling up with women, and definitely talking to younger generations,
Yes.
and hoping that we can, with this perspective, damn, go to the beach no matter what your body
Yeah.
looks like. Allow yourself to walk around your house naked. Be, willing to laugh and play, and go to an improv group, or
Yes.
try something crazy and new and wild.
Exactly.
And liberate yourself, and watch
Yeah.
how that liberates others. All the things, like a
Yes.
million things I would tell my younger self. The first thing
Yes.
would absolutely be, goodness gracious, just allow yourself to have some more fun. Like, you take yourself way
Way
too
too
seriously.
seriously.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yes. So I'm wearing polka dots today,
You're
and
wearing polka dots.
yeah, which just makes me happy. And you showed up to the podcast just in your bra, and then,
Yeah.
got dressed.
So as I got dressed and I put on, like, I have to wear
Oh
some
my
hookah
gosh, you're wearing
boots.
shoes?
Yes. Yes.
Boots?
I wear shoes when my honey bunny's not around, because he kind of freaks out about, oh, our floors aren't like we got ripped off on the wood floors because they're not really hardwood. Please don't wear shoes. And so when he's not around,
So
I
you're
put
wearing
on the
your
hooker
sexy
boots.
high heel thigh-high boots. I love it. I love that you're
Yeah.
doing that during a podcast where nobody, until we talked about it, would have seen, because you feel different when you're wearing them, right?
Absolutely. Because he says, oh, wear leggings. So I've got my leggings on. I said, honey, if I don't put boots on, because I love a pleasure, boots. I love boots.
What makes that pleasure? What about wearing boots is pleasurable to you?
I love it's a power thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's like, it's got, these boots are made for walking.
Yes.
And up until 2 years ago, when my back started to go to shit, I used to wear more high heel. Like,
Uh-huh.
so
Uh-huh.
I long for that. I'm more in the loss of my high heels.
Mm.
But it like, I get a good stride,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
move and I feel, so I could be where I said my leggings, but when I put on a pair of boots,
Yes.
or when I've got my jeans on and I put on a pair of boots,
Yes.
I feel grown up, damn it.
Yeah.
I feel powerful. So if I'm in slippers or my stocking feet, I feel like I'm at a kid's birthday party. I can't stand that.
I love that. There's a sound to zipping up the boot. Like, it's not just
Oh,
a little
yes.
zip, it's like
Oh,
zzz,
yeah, yeah. It's like,
long, prolonged. I'm fucking gonna do something important today.
yes. Yes, I think they used to call them fuck me boots, but I'm saying those more like fuck you boots. No.
There you go. Fuck you. I love it. I love it. It wasn't all that long ago that I started finally, purchasing, bras that didn't make me feel gross, and panties that were nice. Like, it's just like, that stuff's important, and it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with sex and sensuality. It's just like,
Oh.
oh my goodness, like, I love color and texture. I want it to
Yeah.
be comfortable, because if you
Yes.
put too much panty and it goes in the crack, it hurts. You need to
Yeah.
find the right panty and the right bra so you can be
Exactly.
comfortable, so you can have more
Exactly.
fun. So yeah, whatever it takes.
Exactly. I don't know about you, but I have to have my underwear matching colors.
Do you?
Yeah, like if I have to,
I like
all
it.
black or all
Yeah.
white. It's hard to find decent white knickers. that don't look like cotton old lady panties.
Yes. Are knickers panties?
Yes, knickers or panties.
Okay.
Me knickers. It's a very English term. Me knickers, me
Yes,
panties,
yes.
the underwear.
Those up in Quebec. I always thought knickers were pants. So yes, finding a nice pair of pretty white panties that don't.
Yes, very hard. And I also want, oh geez, sometimes I want to crucify Calvin Klein. Okay, Calvin, you're calling this a 36D. My ass. It looks more like a 32A when I put it on my tits. So like, yeah.
Have you ever had a bra fitting where like you have somebody help you and you have to like lean forward and they say like do a little shake?
My mother used to do that.
And then like squish them together and then like get the sides, because that's where the troubles come in, right? Where you like the side boob, and so you get that in there, and then they're like, no, keep tucking, like do like origami on your breasts to fit them into the bra, and then you stand up and they're like, yeah, it still doesn't look right.
No, and it feels like hell. And then it's what to do with it, like we're talking about this.
Right, the
okay. Then it was the back.
Oh, the back. Yeah. The roll in the back.
Yes. Roll in the back. And then the puffy kneecaps.
We're all so alike, right? Because and one day you wake up and you're like, what? Like what happened to my knees or what happened to my back? And then of course, naively in my 40s, I was like, well, that'll go away as soon as I get back on my eating plan or do my lat pulls. No, it didn't. I was like, had I known, I would have embraced it better. Had I known that when the chin starts to sag and you lose your jawline, you lost. It's done. You're gone. And the back thing, it's for here to stay. And the knees will never actually bounce back. And so that like I could stop trying so hard to revert back to my 30-year self. It's not going to happen.
And I mean, as much as I love turning 30, because I said that was the best thing I ever did. Turning 40 was even better. 50, yeah, well, I don't want to be in my 30s again.
No.
Sweet Jesus, no. You know, it was good for one, you know, for many things, but oh my God, the heartache and no way.
It's true how much we've been able to just let go of as we age. And I think you know, like you said with the fuck you boots, I love getting not like hate mail, but it's like, you know, criticisms or judgments or people's comments. And I used to sit up all night thinking, what should I have said? Or how could I, you know, make them feel better? How can I fix this? How can I apologize? And now I just have a much easier time just letting it go and saying, you know, we're going to just agree to disagree, or this is my belief and take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And
or I did the best that I could, that I knew to do at the time, you know, with all kinds of wonderful intention and integrity at the time.
That's so true. That's actually coming up right now, because in my book, this is not a, well, I was just going to say this is a selfless plug, but it really is just a selfish plug, but there's a reason why I'm saying it.
Plug your book.
At the top, it says, my next husband will be a lesbian, a collection of stories from women finding their truth. And the publishers and I went back and forth 4 months about whether or not to spell women with an X, which I learned maybe a year ago was the more inclusive spelling.
Right.
Well, so we went to publication with that. And there's women in the book who identify as trans, lesbian, bi, straight, the whole spectrum. Needless to say, since then, I have been hearing from more women that are saying that this spelling of women with an X is actually exclusive, especially to the trans community. And so of course I'm like, oh shit, like I thought I was being inclusive, and some people feel it's exclusive, and you can't win because there's disagreement, and every day it changes. So
that's right.
I'm going to write some sort of not apology, because of course I did the best I could with what I knew, but an addendum of sorts that just says, at the time of publication, this was the inclusive languaging.
Yes.
And oh my gosh,
it keeps changing. You know, and depending, because I saw your interview with Jamie.
Oh yeah. Oh good.
Yes, it was excellent. And it is, and you know, it's like things keep changing and shifting, and perspectives are different. And you know, I remember back in the 90s, back in the 90s, and younger feminists were, pissed off with second wave feminism, like Germaine Greer or Gloria Steinem, and kind of going, oh, come on, it's not, even with the feminist community, like,
Yes.
is it that line from Tootsie?
What line is that?
Tootsie? When Dustin Hoffman's gone off to buy a purse,
Yes.
he's getting these accessories, and he comes back and he says to Bill Murray, "My God, it was vicious, beating her wedding purses. Women kill their own," he says.
That's great. I do remember that movie. I just hadn't remembered that quote. That's great. That's a good one.
But,
yes.
But it is about perspective, and we do the best we can.
Yeah. Right.
And to be, because we're so hard as women, we're very hard on ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's to be more loving and compassionate.
Yeah.
And fully approving of our flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Be they our perimenopausal, menopausal bodies, or where we're at, or how we're feeling at the time.
Yeah. So since you're willing to just talk about everything that's uncomfortable and taboo, can we just like put it out there? Like, also in midlife and aging, it just seems like there's more farting and more, and and bathroom issues. And seriously, what's with the bodily functions? Like, we're drier one place and it seems gassier other places. What the heck?
At one point, in our lives, it used to be pussy farting during some wild position, right? The pussy fart.
The queefs that came out during sex.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
when they come out. That's not when they come out.
So now it's a lot more farting. It's a lot more peeing. Well,
lots of peeing.
Yes. Well, that could be pelvic floor issues.
Yeah.
That could be pelvic floor issues.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time, I've even as a kid, I've always needed to know where the bathroom was. Like, if we need, I'm stopping for a pee whenever I get a chance to.
Mm-hmm.
So,
mm-hmm.
But there was a time a couple of years ago, like 51 was the turning point for me, 51 and a half, when it all kind of, the ass went out of it. Out of everything, the arse is out of her now, guys. When I desperately found myself having to pee, like urgent, like holy shit, like stop the car, I gotta pee in that field, like pull over.
If you have to go and you can't,
and it's like, is this in my head? Like, but no, apparently that kind of urgent need to pee is quite common.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's kind of subsided, but yes, a lot of women suffer from incontinence. The farting, I've always been a farter, so nothing really new there.
No new farts for you. Okay.
But that's interesting, I guess, because things are a bit looser. It is about strengthening that pelvic floor.
Yes.
Not that I do any of those.
I have been more lax about my pelvic floor strengthening because I haven't been going to as many Pilates and yoga classes because of COVID. So yes, we'll blame COVID on the extra farting and urgent peeing. But my son, who's 13, so he's going through adolescence while I'm going through menopause, which is a big old shit show. Right. But like, I just feel like we're both becoming more gross every day. Just every day. I get smellier. Can we talk about BO? Is that a thing, or am I alone? Like, menopause and BO, it changes? Like, sure.
If you just think your whole kind of chemistry, metabolism starts to go off. So yes, it can.
Okay.
I have to say, I haven't encountered that. But one of my pleasures is wearing perfume all day, so maybe I do stink and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't do anything smelly because it gives me a headache. But I just noticed that it's a different body odor than it was a year ago. And I suppose, if I'm really thinking about it, the fact that I haven't been moving my body as much, there's probably more built up toxins, emotional and physical. So I'm just going to call it that. As soon as COVID's over, I will smell better.
my next book, or I think my next one, COVID's over, I won't. Okay, never mind. So all of those, all of those things that women don't want to talk about. They also don't want to talk about kind of their fears and their anxieties. A lot about life, about life, and also see during this time in our life, we do tend to be more anxious.
Mm-hmm.
There is more anxiety,
Mm,
more insomnia.
mm,
Um,
mm.
that's also reality. And then plus you add a pandemic on top of that.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
if you've got children and if you've got aging parents, oh my God, like
Both.
my mom's getting her shot tomorrow, first vaccine, yay.
Yeah.
So you're kind of worried about who's
Both.
getting sick, who's not getting sick. My
Mm-hmm.
partner's on the road when he comes back in, all those kinds of,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
there's more angst in the
Yeah.
air.
And the stakes are high right now. You know,
They
if your
are.
aging parents get sick,
Yeah,
it's scarier and more anxiety ridden, and you might not be able to travel to see them or be with
exactly.
them if they're sick in the hospital. So yeah, it's a whole nother level of anxiety. I feel, I hope that, you know, we're starting to take a little bit of a turn now, as more and more people are getting vaccinated, and pray that works and pray that's the answer. Um, and that it helps ease some of this, and that we can uh,
Mm-hmm.
gather and connect the generations, because that whole intergenerational aspect that we're missing right now is so beautiful and vital. And yeah, it's, I can't imagine 20-30 years from now being a mother and I hope grandmother, and not being able to circle up with
Yes.
my grandchildren on my lap. That just
Yes.
seems like the pinnacle of pleasures to me.
Yes.
And so I'm sure there's a lot of heartache out there for people missing.
Yeah, there is. There's been a lot of loss, even in terms of people dying and not being able to mourn and
Yeah.
all those.
Yeah.
It's been big, and we can't really underestimate the
Mm.
toll that it's taken mentally and
Yes.
psychologically on people's health, which is why the big thing for me this whole 2020 was Rockstar Camp, was
Mhm.
Roar, was Goddess Mastermind, was deciding I'm leaving my jobette and creating my own business. And
Good.
so it has been circling up with women
Yes.
in
Yes. That's the
community.
commonality and all of
That's
that.
the commonality in all of this.
Yes.
And so that's what you do, that's what I do, hold space for women. And we are also in sisterhoods where other women are holding space for us.
Thank
And
goodness.
that has been the salvation, that has been the saving grace, that's been the nourishment
Yes.
and the inspiration and the joy and the pleasure.
Yes. Yes.
It's been absolutely vital.
Yeah. I say it all the time. I think it's life saving to have a soft place to land, to have people who know what you're doing, and then celebrate your wins, and then hold space for you when you're having those miserable dark days. You're just like, oh, what the hell? I am trying my damnedest and nothing's working, or
Yeah,
why don't I have it figured out by now? Or, you know, I'm 50 and I haven't even arrived, or whatever the, you know, limiting beliefs are.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're looking at Michelle Obama, seeing a couple of documents of Michelle Obama going, oh yeah, okay, I've done nothing.
What did she say?
No, looking at her and I'm looking at her life and I kind of going, okay, I've done nothing.
But wouldn't it be fascinating to talk to somebody like Michelle Obama or Kamala Harris, or any
Yeah.
powerful woman who, most likely, if you actually started talking to them, they too would have limiting beliefs, body shame, um, imposter syndrome, all the things. And that would be a really cool conversation. I think Oprah
Yes.
did a special on that, where she wasn't maybe referring to herself so much, but she said even when she interviews presidents and people who are leaders of the world, as soon as the interview is over, they're like, was that okay? Did I do okay?
Yeah.
Did I say the right thing?
Yeah.
So we all hold on to that.
Yeah.
And I
Bet you David Letterman doesn't ask that.
what's that?
Bet you David Letterman doesn't ask that. No, I'm just thinking about in terms of men and women.
Oh, so the difference between men and women, and yeah,
Yeah.
or maybe just men don't talk about perhaps their
Yeah.
shame and fears and as much. Perhaps I hope that's changing too. I really
Me too.
have been enjoying bringing men into the
Yeah.
conversation more, even though I
Yes.
do so much more enjoy just circling up with women. But if some of us women actually still want to live with and talk to other people, such as men, we actually
Which we
need to
do.
bring them into conversation.
Exactly, and having understanding partners who can
Yes.
laugh along with you, like
Oh gosh.
That's been a gift, you know, who can laugh along with my vaginal atrophy.
But he doesn't laugh at your vaginal atrophy.
No,
He's laughing with your
with,
vaginal
yeah.
atrophy.
So yeah, that's been a key as well. So
Good.
bringing men and women into the conversation is really, really important.
Yes. Yes. Meanwhile, we're just going to keep circling women up. So if people wanted to circle up with you, Jo, how could they do so?
Well, you can find me on Facebook, Jo Visser.
Nice.
That's where I am. And I also have my email address, which is jovissercoach@gmail.com.
Fancy.
Yes. And yeah, fancy. And I don't have a sexy name for a business yet. I'm just Jo Visser Coach. Just Jo. That was my master's thesis. Just Jo.
Jo Visser's sexy enough and all on its own sexy.
Thank you very much. And yeah, and languid lunches. So I've been offering these languid lunches monthly. I will start moving them to weekly languid lunches, and I run programs for women who want to reclaim, reframe, and reignite and empower their perimenopause, menopause life. Like, this is our prime.
Yes. Yes. So good. And I've had the pleasure of circling up with Jo in her groups, and a fantastic facilitator. So wonderful at holding space for all of our big emotions, and definitely the laughter and the humor, which is healing. So thank you, brilliant goddess Jo Visser, for coming to do this episode of Let Pleasure Be the Measure. It was completely in my pleasure to talk to you.
It was completely in mine. I always love hanging out with you. I can hardly wait to hang out in person.
Oh my gosh. I can't even believe I've never hugged your actual body.
I know. We will at some point when they open the border.
By the time we can, my crepey boobs will be falling out of my bra, and your crepey boobs will be falling out of your bra, and we'll just jiggle our way to each other and run down the street.
But it would say, point your nipples to the wind.
Or hopefully we won't have to pick our nipples up off the ground so we don't trip on them as we run to each other for that hug, that long-awaited hug.
No, they'll be very old then. It'll be very.
It shall happen. It shall happen.
It shall happen. Thank you.
So good to see you. And if anybody wants to continue the conversation with me, you can visit my website, pashamarlow.com, or you could email me at pasha@pashamarlow.com. I offer one-on-one coaching, as well as some really fun group activities and programs such as Roar with Laughter that Jo was talking about. The 8-week
much fun
therapeutic comedy program that ends in a comedic storytelling performance. And of course, you can check out the book, My Next Husband Will Be a Lesbian. Yay. And if you like this podcast, and I'm so excited if you do, whoops, I just dropped my book. Please leave a review or consider sharing it. That would be so helpful. So yay. Let's talk soon, Jo. Mwah.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.